Warning: the deck you are about to see contains massive amounts of jank. It should be approached with caution. Do not play this deck if you want to win. If you don't mind going 0x or are just completely insane, then welcome to the jank.
Alright, let's take a look at some jank. So this is going to be my first deck list for the BT8 format. I'm hoping to go to a pre-release tomorrow, depending on whether or not my friendly local game store has stock for BT8. Hopefully it does, but not really a big issue if not. But yeah, let's just get into this. So let's begin with the deck overview. Here is the list that I'm currently running. It is not a good list. It is something that I threw together in a couple of minutes. Doesn't work all that well, but it's a jank deck and I cannot be bothered to improve it. So let's break it down. We are running 4 Digi-Eggs, 12 level 3s, 9 level 4s, 17 level 5s, because this is an Eos build, 6 level 6s, and 6 Tamer cards. So now let's go card by card. So for our Digi-Eggs, we are running 4 copies of Sumemon. This has the inherited effect: while you have another Digimon in play with the same name as this Digimon, it gets plus 2 KDP. Doesn't really matter too much. I just thought it'd be on theme for the Diaboro side of this deck, and it does more for the deck than the BT5 Sumemon does. So yeah, we're running 4 copies of this. Any piece of this deck, by the way, feel free to replace with something better if you really want to. I'm just keeping it like this because theming and jank. Up next is 4 copies of BT2 Keramon. This is a level 3 and it has the inherited effect: when you play another Digimon with the same name as this one, trigger draw 1. And this is quite an important piece. I'd say it's probably the second most important piece of this deck. So you'll want to get this as quickly as possible. Thankfully we do have cards to search it out, so it shouldn't be too bad. Speaking of searching it out, we are running 4 copies of BT5 Keramon. This has the effect: on play, you reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, add a Digimon with unidentified in its type and errata to your hand, and you can place the rest on the bottom. So this allows you to search for any piece you need. Examples: the BT2 Keramon we just talked about, or BT5 Kurisarimon. They're kind of your 2 most important pieces to have. And our last level 3 is 4 copies of Classic Collection Keramon, and this is kind of a weak spot of the deck. It has the effect: for each other Digimon you have in play with the same name as this one, it gets plus 1000 DP. That doesn't really matter all that much, and you could replace it with one that's actually good, like Toy Agumon, for example. Yeah, there's really no downside to replacing this with Toy Agumon. Next up, we've got 3 copies of BT2 Kurisarimon. This has the inherited effect: whenever you play another Digimon with the same name as this one, gain a memory. This is quite a good extender in this deck, especially when you see kind of how it all functions up in the top end. Next, we've got 3 copies of BT5 Kurisarimon, and this is, in my opinion, the most important card in the deck. This has: when digivolving, if you don't have an errata, you can play 1 for free from your hand. And inherited effect: all of your other Digimon with the same name as this one gain rush. And you'll see why that's important once the deck starts to come together. But this effect is really important, and I wouldn't recommend playing without this card. And lastly is 3 copies of Kurisarimon, the promo one. All of your other Digimon with the same name as this one gain Decoy. And this is pretty good for if you hit, say, a Gaia Force in security, or Iron Fisted Onslaught, Wyvern's Breath, any kind of removal. This is quite a good piece to have, because it'll let you get rid of one of your other Eosmon instead of your main stack. Up next is 13 copies of BT6 Eosmon. And 13's a rather weird number. It's basically, I just stuffed everything into this deck, and I had 37 cards, so I just decided 13 Eosmon would be fine. You can include up to 50, so you can tweak the ratios of this if you want. I just put in the pieces I need and then filled up the rest with level 5 Eosmons. When attacking, you can play a level 5 or lower Eosmon from your hand without paying its memory cost, so it's good for swarming the field. And your turn, this Digimon gets plus 1000 DP. It's alright. It's an alright effect, but you're really going to be wanting to play this for its when attacking effect. Up next is the glue that binds this completely disjointed deck together. 4 copies of Chimeramon. This has the ability to DNA Digivolve from any 2 level 4s, and then place a level 5 or lower Digimon from the trash underneath it, and then up to 4 of your opponent's Digimon get minus 1,000 for each of this Digimon's colors until the end of their next turn. So this will only ever have maximum 2 colors, black and white. So this is how you get from the black bottom end, the Karamons and Kurisarimons, into the white side, which is your level 6 Eosmons. Next up, we've got 4 copies of the BT6 level 6 Eosmon. When digivolving for each tamer that you or your opponent has in play, you can place a level 5 or lower Eosmon from your trash at the top of this Digimon's Digivolution cards in any order. And then if you place 2 or more cards to this effect, delete one of your opponent's Digimon. So this is a very good removal tool. It's very good to kind of culminate everything together, and you can make some pretty big stacks with this, which is important because the second effect is for every 3 Digivolution cards it has, you gain security attack +1. So this can swing for quite a lot of checks if you can get it out properly. And you can see sort of why we're running this now. You Digivolve over your Chimeramon, and then it gains all the inherited effects of the Karamon and Kurisarimon underneath. So these effects will apply to your Eosmon. So your level 5s will gain Rush. Whenever you play 1 draw card, gain a memory, they'll all gain Decoy. And that's sort of what this deck does. It gets out a big main stack of a couple of Karamons and Kurisarimons underneath a Chimeramon, and then Digivolve into a level 6 Eosmon, and then rush in with level 5s. It's janky, it's quite fun, but it's not very consistent. Which is why we're also running 2 copies of the BT7 level 6 Eosmon. It's only a 3 cost to Digivolve as opposed to the other one's 5 costs, so sometimes this is better if you're lower on memory. During your turn, all of your other Eosmon get plus 1,000 DP, not really gonna matter too much. And on deletion you can play a level 5 or lower Eosmon from your hand without paying its memory cost. So this is sort of just here to give us more level 6 Eosmons to go into. For our tamers, we are running 4 copies of Errata Sonata. At the start of your turn, if you have none identified in the trash, you gain a memory. And another effect that involves the Diaboromon that we're not going to talk about because we're not running the Diaboromon. So this is kind of just in as a memory booster. As soon as you've got 1 unidentified in trash, this card becomes live and it can give you more memory for your plays. Plus you can play it for free off Kurisarimon, and you can search it off Karamon. And finally, 2 copies of Manoa Bellucci. She is a memory fixer, so at the start of your turn, if you have less than 3 memory, it sets your memory to 3. Whenever you play an Eosmon, you can suspend her to look at the top 3 cards of your deck and add a tamer or an Eosmon from among them to your hand. And then on your opponent's turn, while you have an Eosmon in play, their tamers don't unsuspend during the unsuspend phase. So this is just kind of there to search out more pieces and to fix your memory, which your errata can also boost on top of that. So that is the deck. If you have any interest in seeing more jank builds like this, let me know. If you have any ideas, let me know in the comments below, and thank you for watching.